In the last section, we successfully got our app to show a very particular day of the week, but it still only shows just one day. So we'll address this in a minute. But first, let's talk about why it's doing that. So we have our day item component, just one instance of it, and our day item is only really programmed to show a very particular day. So what kind of makes sense here is we need to not show one day item, we need to show many day items, right? One for every day of the week. So let's go ahead and start with what you might call a little bit more of a naive approach. So I'm going to, instead of doing anything clever, we're just going to do it as simple as possible. We'll go ahead and make multiple copies of day item, and then we'll just manually change the index. So this right here should show the first 4 days of the week. I'll save, we'll refresh, and sure enough, okay, we've got multiple days of the week. What this really tells us is that every time that we call day item, we're getting a different instance of day item, right? We're making a different copy of the component. So our weekdays component is really showing 4 different copies of day item here. Well, that's really handy to know. It's nice. This is, still a pretty naive approach, and we can, of course, do a lot better than this. So instead of calling day item multiple times, we're going to make a helper function to help us along. So we're going to expand our React class here. Remember, we passed an object to it, and it currently has just one property, render. We're going to go ahead and add another property, and we're going to call it days. Now, this might be obvious to you, but I'm going to state it anyways. Whenever we create a React component, there are some functions that we'll define that are required by React or used by React. They will automatically be called by React. We can define other functions, however, that are really utility functions, functions that are only expected that we are going to call manually. So whereas React, the library, will call render automatically, it's never going to automatically call days. This is great because it allows us to just stuff a ton of additional helper functions onto our React component, and they're all in a very nice little, tightly coupled bundle here. So let's talk more about days. Days is going to be responsible to render one day item for every day of the week. So ultimately, we're going to expect this to return 7 different day item components. Each day item that we create will be passed a different day. So let's go ahead and implement that in the next section.